Pickins getting kind of slim around here. I wanted to pass on a tip for foods that may be on the, well, not really going bad, but maybe headed in that direction, and you don't want to throw them out. What I got here are some raspberries, lemons, limes, cucumbers. This is infused water. It's a real popular thing at the health food stores right now, and all the water that I drink is purified water. So I put purified water in this. It was 2 cucumbers, a few lemon and lime slices, a cup of raspberries that sure look appetizing, but by the time I was going to get around to the timing of going to the grocery store and everything is part of it. I wanted it to be, I wasn't going to make it back to the store before they probably went bad. So what I'm doing is making some infused water, and it's absolutely delicious. You can try any combination of this type stuff. And and then I'll chill it for a while. The results are very, very delicious. It's just a suggestion of something you might try, to make things go further. This is not an original idea. I never thought about it until I saw it there at the health food store. And that's all it is. You don't have to juice it or grind it or cut it up or anything other than just slice it and put it in there. It's very, very delicious though. I'm kind of hungry, so I'm going to where I can find something to eat that doesn't cost a thing. I kind of shy away from calling this a practice run, but I have found the people who are the most prepared usually tend to go through the least amount of pain when bad times come. Anyway, I'm going to show you where we're at. We're in front of the courthouse. I know the wind is going to be messing with this, but let me back up. I'm sure you recognize that. It's a great big pecan tree here on the courthouse lawn. And since it's on the courthouse lawn, I don't have the slightest qualms about picking up pecans. The thing about it is, there are several varieties of pecans, and I'm not a connoisseur of them. I mean, I love them. I absolutely love them. And they don't always make a crop. But this last fall, they made a tremendous crop. Both here and at the city park, and I'm going to show you the differences in the pecans. I would go down to the city park, and I have in the past. But let me back up and say, okay, the reason I'm going for these pecans is because one of the things I found out years ago that keeps very well and keeps for many years and keeps well for many years is corn syrup. I'm kind of hungry, and a pecan pie, you just can't be a son of the South and not love pecans and pecan pie. Okay, anyway, I have a lot of corn syrup, but I don't have any pecans, and pecans at the store cost about $8, $9 a pound. So let me flip this around. Okay, this particular type of pecan And there are just hordes of them on the ground. Way too many for the squirrels. Back to what I was saying, I'm not an expert on pecans, other than to know what I like. This particular variety, I'm only going by what I saw on the internet. These are either Burketts or Comanches. They're not the paper shell, which are the ones that are growing at the city park. And I'll show you, I'll compare them. We'll walk down there after I get through here, and I'll show you the difference. But they're also not the great big giant pecans, the native pecans. But this is perfect for pecan pie because they're bigger than paper shell. Paper shell are a little bit of a hassle to crack because they're so small. You have to crack so many of them. They're still good, perfectly good. And this is free, so I'm going to pick up a bunch for my pecan pie. And what I was saying, you can see these trees all over. Okay, I'm on the courthouse lawn. Let me see if I can zoom over. There is a vacant house right there. That's a pecan tree too. Now, you know, I'm not advising anybody to go to someone else's property. That's why I'm on the courthouse lawn. I can pick up pecans here with impunity. Anyway, and there's pecan trees all over. People just grow them because they like them. They like trees that make fruits and nuts. And boy, this was a bountiful year. You know, I'm going to get a bunch of them. Anyway, we'll go down to the. I mean, you can still see there's absolute tons of them still up in the tree. And this is February 6th or 7th. I can't remember. Anyway, I'm going to pick some up and then we'll walk down to the city park and look at a couple of things about pecans. Please do not flail the trees. In some parts of Texas, I don't know if it's still a law. It used to be a law in Texas. If they saw you flailing pecan trees to get the pecans to fall, they'll write you a big old ticket. So please don't flail the trees. I don't even like it how professional growers shake the trees. I think it's harmful, and they swear up and down it's not, but I don't like doing it, and I won't do it. And, okay, also, two other points while it's on my mind is, my gosh, there's just hordes of these. One thing about pecans, the reason I'm gonna really pick them up, a lot of them, they keep for a long time, many years in the shell, and they'll still be good. And another point is if you have a way to grind the shell up, it makes an awesome abrasive, a very mild abrasive that will put a shine on, if you have a tumbler, it'll put a shine on jewelry you won't believe. You grind it up into a powder, if you have a way to do that. Anyway, those 3 points. Believe me, that you couldn't pick up enough pecans here to threaten those squirrels. Oh man, it's one of the very best crops I've ever seen. Another thing is, I guess 4 points. I have never seen the county spray these trees. So for all practical purposes, you could call them organic. So the powder makes a good abrasive. They keep for many years. In this particular situation, I could call them organic. They just let them grow. They don't do anything to help them or hinder them that I've ever seen. And be sure when you pick them up, I mean, if you got a tree in your yard, great. But if you have to, go somewhere, make sure it's a public place where nobody can give you any hassle over it. Anyway, I'll be right back. By the way, I said earlier that this was a practice exercise. I don't like to think about it, and it's well, you better be prepared ahead of time. That is, if it comes down to it, being homeless. This is a technique that I can tell you right now, you'll be glad that you figure these things out. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm at the city park, and you can see there's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7 or 8 pecan trees. That's one of the things that a lot of towns and cities do for their parks is grow pecans. So let's walk up here and have a look. I'll show you why I prefer the other pecans. And they had a bumper crop down here this last fall as well. Okay. Well, you can tell there's a bunch right here. Okay, I'll stop the camera and I'll pick some up and we'll go talk about them. Trying real hard not to spill my stash here. Okay, from what I understand, these are paper shell. And I have picked them up. A few years ago, I came down here and got a 5-gallon bucket of them. Okay, here's the ones I just picked up. And from what I could tell on the internet, I could be totally wrong, but as far as I could tell, these are either Burketts or Comanches. Now, when we get home, I'll show you the big ones that I found at a roadside park. And those are the real prizes, let me tell you. You can tell you have to have a whole lot more of these. And it's very tedious cracking them and compared to the bigger pecans. So the thing is this. Let me turn it around here. Face out of the wind. The thing is this. Losing my pecans. I just spent all that time picking up. Anyway, the thing is this. It's something I don't like to think about, and most people are scared to death to think about. In the event that I become homeless, you need to know where sources of food are that don't cost anything, and I'm talking about somewhere besides the obnoxious, hateful food banks and soup kitchens. Thank God they're there, don't get me wrong, but if the people there are not being ugly and hateful, handing stuff out, then it's the other people you have to deal with that are there to get it. I mean, that's the way most people get help, so be it, that's the way it is. If it comes down to it, I'll prefer my own way. You need to know where berry bushes are, nut trees. Sometimes you can find actual vegetables grow and volunteer. Sometimes. That's why I say I don't want to really call this a practice run, because I don't want to fatalistically admit that but just in case, think about those things. This is the absolute depths of winter, and there's enough pecans over there to keep you alive easily, and the squirrels. I mean, they're not that plentiful every year. It's just one of many things to think about. Some parts of New Mexico and Colorado, pinyon pines, the pinyon nuts. I'm not just harping on survivalism stuff, but I can tell you, back during the Great Depression, those were the top things that kept people alive, literally alive, when they would have starved to death otherwise. Anyway, I'm not just here, harping up on that. I'm just saying it's a good thing to keep in the back of your repertoire. When we get home, I'll show you those big pecans. See if I can do this one-handed. By the way, please don't flail the trees. There's better ways of getting those pecans down, and if you get them in a shell, I mean the covering, it usually comes up pretty easily, just like that. I mean, thank God for these, but we'll share those with the squirrels. Don't flail and remember the shell. If you can have a way of grinding it up, it makes an excellent mild abrasive powder that will put a shine on stuff like you won't believe. And they keep many years. I've kept them 10, 15 years easy, and they were perfectly good. So, and I've made pecan pies out of them. So anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, here's the King's Ransom. I don't know the variety. I'm sure they're native pecans because they were planted at a roadside park that was built 15, 18 years ago, something like that. So by the fact that the state deliberately planted that variety, because you know how historical they all are. Anyway, check this out. I didn't bring the paper shell, but remember the paper shell were half this size. These beauties, I don't know the variety, but let me tell you, oh, you like seeing those. Dropped one. You love finding those babies. I mean, look at the size difference. Well, now that makes a pie. As far as the taste, I mean, I'm not a connoisseur, but they all taste good to me. Anyway, in my backyard, I have a white mulberry that was there when I moved in. And by the way, I ain't telling where I got these. I ain't gonna say where the roadside park is. Anyway, in all the years I've lived here, there has only been one year that there was not a bumper crop of mulberries. Absolutely delicious. It's a fruiting tree. If you take the time to make jams and jellies and all that, it will get you through the winter. But when I talk about a practice run, that's what I'm referring to is, heaven forbid that you ever fall into that situation. But if you do, it would be good to know a lot of things and what to look for and what to recognize ahead of time. So one last point about pecans. I found out the hard way that put them in something airtight, watertight, moisture-tight, everything. They attract rodents like you wouldn't believe, like a freaking magnet. So when you go to store your pecans, don't leave them out. Put them in something glass, something plastic, something sealable. Anyway, that's my point for now. We'll be back.